Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our viewing audience and welcome to the Chaska Human Rights Commission meeting for Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. Our city liaison, Elise Durbin, is not with us this evening, but we're fortunate to have Kevin Wright as our liaison tonight. So welcome, Kevin.
Yeah, hey, great to join the group again.
Generally, we do the roll call. Would you be willing to do that?
I would be willing and honored to do that. So
Excellent.
I'll filibuster just a second or two to let Commissioner Me get my fellow Kevin get over there. All right. So Commissioner Hamza. Commissioner Hanan.
Here.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure. Commissioner Gotti. Commissioner Lesueur. Commissioner Ali Dar. Commissioner Me.
Here.
Commissioner Sanderson.
Here.
Commissioner Hubbard.
Here.
Commissioner Welbert.
Here.
And Chair Carlson.
Here. Thanks, Kevin.
It's always a big one to get off the plate. So,
The agenda was sent out. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections that we need to have for the agenda? If not, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Excellent. Motion made by Hannah, seconded by Martin. There's no further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Thanks. We do not have a guest presentation this evening, but I'm wondering, would we like to see the slides now, or would we like to see the slides under item 6A?
We can watch them now.
We could watch them now. Is it-
Yeah.
all right, that works for me.
So the slides that we're going to be showing are just some highlights from our recent event, the Dr. Martin Luther King celebration that we held this past Monday. We had a great opportunity to gather. We had a wonderful guest speaker, the author of Echo in the Distance. And so you can, hopefully you'll see those slides and you'll say, hey, wait a minute, I think I recognize those. So.
Yeah, I think this is about. Everyone see him well enough this way?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so I'm just, tell me if you need me to stop, but I'll just
Okay.
kind of maybe do a slow
Sure, that'd be great.
internal 3 to 5 second process here.
So one of the things that we did at the Dr. King celebration was award 2 Human Rights Award. One goes to the Beyond New Beginnings program. And there you'll see the Beyond New Beginnings program representatives. Former Mayor Bob Ripke, who, when I spoke with him today, said, you guys really know how to do it. Thank you. So, hats off to us for that. Oh, we have.
You can tell that by that face, I think. I think this is saying, wow, this commission knows how to do it right there.
Kaylee Haga, former member of our commission, the communications manager for District 112. We had a wonderful middle school choir from all 3 middle schools here in Chaska. They provided 3 songs, 3 different songs, all wonderful. The second Human Rights Award for 2024 actually did not go to this gentleman. It went to Julie Janke, who was out of the country. And when we get to that, I'll read her message that she wrote to us that I received today. But it's on her behalf. Generally our city liaison, Elise Durbin there in the background, along with Greg Bowe, who's in here in our community. And the person with the black and white check is Aaron Link, our partner with Parks and Recreation.
And you can kind of tell maybe how cold it was that day by Greg seemingly warming his hands with a cup of coffee.
What?
Negative.
It was minus.
You have a lot.
Like that, without wind chill. I don't know what it was with wind chill, but.
Negative, why did I move back to Minnesota?
Exactly. Um, Our representative Lucy Ream in the middle, along with Heather Tran from A Better Society, an organization that works here in Chaska and in the Carver County community. The Human Rights Award. Our plaque normally hangs here in the entrance to City Hall, to our council chambers. And as you go out this evening, you can see all of those individuals that have received the award, along with our two newest additions. Our new mayor, Taylor Hubbard, we asked her to give some opening remarks, and it was great to have her there and to kind of set the tone for us for our event. Jill Engleswick, the program director for Beyond New Beginnings, one of the Human Rights Award recipients.
Uh-oh.
There we go. So Kevin Wright, our communications manager for the city of Chaska, meeting and greeting the public, which is one of the wonderful things that Kevin does. So thank you, Kevin.
And you'll notice I forgot my glasses at home that day. So I remembered when I was about 5 minutes out of leaving or having left my house 5 minutes earlier. And so I said, well, guess I'm just gonna not be wearing glasses today. So,
They would have fogged up anyways. It was so cold out there.
well, this is me telling Terrell that he's like, I didn't even recognize you from across. He's like, I thought that was you, but I didn't see the
Yeah.
glasses. So I was proving that I was who I said I was. Oh, another one.
And another one, along with Libby Fairchild, who, if you recall, was our host last year. She's also an original member of the Chaska Human Rights Commission. And she helped us last year draft Indigenous Peoples Day, if you recall that from last September. Our wonderful
Really?
Martin Hubbard.
I didn't take the photos. What are you looking at me?
Very studious.
Yeah,
Yes, that was
that's a sharp suit.
fancy Monday. Comfy Thursday.
Martin, Jen, and our guest speaker, Shayla Michelle.
And Sarah.
Oh, yeah, and Sarah. In case I don't look the same. And then the next image is our guest speaker, Shayla Michelle. She is an Emmy Award television individual from here in the Twin Cities, to our city manager, Matt Podorowski. Our one of the 5 Carver County commissioners, Matt Uterman, Molly Povamaki, the executive director of Beyond New Beginnings, also a former member of the Chaska Human Rights Commission. Russ St. John, I don't know what his title is.
He's on the board, I believe, right?
So maybe he's the president of the board
Huh.
of directors for Beyond New Beginnings.
I believe he was a human rights commissioner at one time too.
I do not know that.
He was on the Heritage Preservation Commission.
Or was he? Okay.
Yeah, for sure that one I know, but
Again, Russ. Yours truly. I didn't know that Neil had included this one. Do I look a little intense there? Oh, my gosh.
Is he the one that took all these?
Very professional.
Yes, he did.
like he's
Yeah.
our official Martin Luther King Jr. Day photographer.
We can move off of that one. Shayla Michelle. And our host this year was Steve Curtis, the executive director of the Southwest Chamber of Commerce. Again, Taylor Hubbard. Terrific photo of Taylor.
She was a human rights commissioner. I know
And
that.
she too was a Human Rights Commission member.
And that is these are the
Yeah.
photos, yeah.
Okay. Can you do this while I go get my phone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I should grab the gavel or something.
Officially taking
Okay,
over.
we'll move on to item number 4. And That is approving the minutes. We did not have minutes from last month because we did not have a quorum, but we did have minutes we need to approve still from our November meeting. So I don't know if everyone's gotten a chance to look through the minutes. But if you have any questions or changes, please let us know. Do you want to take over again?
Having heard no comments, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 21st, 2024? Thank you. A motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes carry. The treasurer's report. Because we are in a brand new year, you'll see that our beginning balance is $6,500. And you'll see that we have some expenses for the Dr. King celebration. We all authorized back in November, I believe. So the plaques totaled 160. Oh. Kevin, do you want to do the treasurer's report?
You were doing a fine job, so you can go on.
Okay. So plaques and the books. Now, there will be additional expenses associated with the coffee and the donuts and the sweet rolls. And I don't anticipate that being able to. So right now, we have $5,910.29. And you'll recall that we begin each year with a new balance. We spend throughout the year. Our goal is not to have any money left in our budget as of December 30th. And so sadly, we had some problems with getting the invoices in on purchasing of the books, but we did it. So there you go.
Is that why it carried over from last year to this year?
It did not carry over. That's a brand new expense for 2025, the books. We tried to get the books purchased in 2024. And the invoice did not come out.
Until June.
Any other questions?
Is it possible to get obviously can't be done today, but get last year's, I don't know, reconciliation, so we can see what we spent versus what we had left at the end of the year,
Yes, we can make that available.
next meeting.
If there are no questions, or comments about the treasurer's report, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you, Kevin. Motion's been made and seconded to accept the treasurer's report for January 2025. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Well, so here on our agenda is when we officially get to talk about the Dr. King celebration. And Hannah and Kevin and I were part of the planning committee. So thank you so much for your willingness to attend those meetings and brainstorm and think about where are we going to get this and that. I'd be interested in if you wanted to share any comments about the event. Hannah, I think you were there. Kevin, I think your schedule didn't allow you to be there, but
I thought it was nice. Yeah. I thought cold again, as we've said, but I really enjoyed the choir. I thought that was a really good way to do the music that still kind of, was connected with Chaska and brought kids into the presentation, which I thought was really cool. And the speaker was great. And I liked that we were able to give away her books. And so, yeah, thought it went good. Have some submissions to the coloring contest. So that's exciting. We'll have to take a look when they're all in, but
so that was part of our program this year, was the coloring contest. So people could turn in their contest there at on the 20th when we had our event, or they when are they due? I'm
For
sorry.
this month.
This month, yeah. And so we'll be meeting. We do have 3 prizes to award, not to mention the fact that they'll be posted here in City Hall. And hopefully we'll have Carver County Local News, which is our new digital program, digital newspaper. Swing by, take a couple of pictures, and maybe we'll be able to even photograph the young artists. So I'm really pleased that we could offer that this year. Something a little bit different. We'll see how it goes as we plan for 2026's event.
I unfortunately was unable to make it. Even though I've worked youth development for 10 years, turns out I'm not immune to infant and toddler germs. I am to elementary school age kid germs. So my kid picked something up at daycare and
It's generous.
yeah, and it was generous and was really good at sharing his daycare germs.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I wasn't feeling good on Monday.
well, perfectly understandable. We figured that the cold temperature would probably prevent some folks from coming and attending. Echo in the Distance is the book that Shayla Michelle wrote. And we purchased 40 copies of this book. And we gave away
15 or
15, I believe. And the balance of those books will be distributed to the District 112 schools. So we're really glad that we're able to do that.
in lieu of an honorarium.
And this was all in lieu of an honorarium to be paid to her. So, Martin, you had a pretty exciting conversation with her after, no, I didn't mean it that way. With her regarding potential other activities that she might want to participate here in Chaska.
Yes. I don't have it with me, but Shayla and her boyfriend, or not boyfriend, excuse me, fiance, they kind of do a Martin Luther King, Malcolm X type conversation, and they do it for grade school aged children, and they like to bring that production out this way. So we'll have to talk about it a little later. I was put on the spot, but he just reached out to me yesterday, so kind of put something together for Black History Month. They want to come out and get something out in this area.
February.
I'll have more details later.
It was
But they're
exciting.
Excited. to-
Yeah, it was exciting to hear that they would be interested in coming to Chaska. And not that Chaska is the end of the world, of course not. We're in the middle of the world, but I was really pleased to see their excitement and their engagement with others after the event, during the event. Yeah.
It was very good. I mean, he's did a great job planning and taking pictures and all kinds of other things. So I heard nothing but good comments. And when I got to work, one of the people I work with was like, I saw you on a post and you were at the MLK breakfast. I was going to comment, but he didn't. So that's probably good.
I just wanted to read to you Julie Janke's message to us. She wrote, I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. It is truly an honor to be recognized for the Human Rights Award. It means so, capital, very much to me. Thank you. I would like to come to one of your meetings and get a photo with the group and my award. I feel bad that I will not be there today to accept it. We picked a good week. She was out of town vacationing, as we are back on Wednesday when it starts to warm up. Take care and stay warm. Thank you again, Julie Jenke. So we're sorry that she was not with us, but so glad that she did send a message, and I will invite her to our next February or March's meeting. I think that the challenge for Dr. King's celebration for us is, what do we provide to our community? How do we educate? Do we entertain? Do we have a thoughtful speaker? And so later on in our meeting, we're going to be talking about our committees, our subcommittees, planning for this next year. So, Jen has been part of the Dr. King Celebration Committee for a few years and then stepped off this year. So I don't know if you have any recap thoughts from Monday that you wanted to share as an observer, not as I'm in the woods, I'm taking care of the donuts versus the books.
Sure. Well, first of all, it was nice to sit with my husband at the breakfast. I've never gotten to do that before because we're usually stressing out about donuts or something at the last minute. But I really was impressed with the program that was put together. I, like you, have heard nothing but good things. I really always am impressed with the youth that show up on the coldest day of the year every year. And it's a day off from school and they're there early. And like this year they were singing. And I mean, that's really cool to see that, you know, and I appreciate that a lot. I hope we can continue to find ways to keep youth and students involved because I think that really adds to the morning. I was going to tell you about a comment I got from my sister. She lives in the North Metro, like way North Metro. And she said, I wish that we had something like this up by us. And she said, I'm so glad I can watch it on YouTube. And she just said to let the commission know that she's impressed with the work that's put into it and the thoughtfulness every year, because even through the screen, she can feel the community stuff through it. So good job to everybody for that. So I wanted to pass it along.
Thanks. The subcommittee, Kevin, Hannah, Stacy, Kumar Nelson, who's our liaison with, I don't really. Comcast, thank you. We'll be meeting in the next couple of weeks and try to put together, best practices. Maybe we should stay away from that next year, kind of, after action report, like we do with all of our events. So look for that in February. New business.
Can I just ask one question? Martin, I know you were on the spot, but are we going to meet before these folks want to come down and do the event?
I don't know. I can actually call them tomorrow and have a real conversation with them to figure it out. I see it as kind of us advertising or supporting something, because they already have these sessions in place for February. But I'd have to have a conversation to see how can we fit something into February or later on in the year or whatever they have going on.
Okay.
But I'll have a better answer and I can email Elise where she can spread it
Okay.
out this
We can
weekend.
vote by email, right? If we need to, or
We can, and that's something, yeah, we can, if
Okay.
necessary. I think that the preference is always that we have a decision and we're in quorum and we are together and we make a decision. But there has been some decisions that have been made via email. And so we do have that flexibility. Although very protected and very guarded.
They do this all year. So if it doesn't happen next month, it can happen later on in the year.
okay. Okay.
Does this seem like something that we should add to our list of subcommittees? And then you can have some people at the ready in case you need to help plan something quickly?
What are his results?
I mean, we can, I don't know, I haven't talked to him yet, so I don't know.
Okay.
But we can have people at the ready.
Yeah, if it doesn't happen next month, then, you know, it can happen in
That makes
June
sense.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Hannah, did that answer your question?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure yes, that's fine.
I thought, great. Our action plan was included, I believe,
Yep, it should be in your packet.
in your packet.
Mhm.
And this is something that
Page 8.
Jen and I met with Devin and worked on our action plan. We had an action plan ever since we met with the city back in 2020 and established kind of a strategic planning session at that time. And we said it would really be helpful for us to say, these are the kinds of things that we think we should be doing and the ways that we are going to carry out that mission, so to speak. And so we tried to identify, gosh, we met in October or September, excuse me, September, because, and October, I think. To kind of walk through an action plan that we thought was something that we as volunteers to our community could carry out and that we could commit to. So if you all have it in front of you, we're going to continue to proactively partner and engage with community members and groups. So we have a host of individuals that we have worked with, individuals and organizations that we have worked with in the past. And so we'll continue to do so. And of course, always looking for new opportunities. I think the Pride program last year reached out to various businesses for sponsorships. We've certainly done that in years past. Did we do that at any other time during last year that we reached out to the businesses?
Just for like MLK, I mean, we asked for,
Right, just
Yeah.
for Dr. King and for our Pride celebration. So,
Reach out during Heritage Month.
Not for sponsorships.
Sponsorships,
Or
no.
partnerships.
right. Since we partnered with Southwest Chamber of Commerce this past week, I feel that we've got the opportunity to kind of explore that and even to reach into the Downtown Business Association that's right here in Chaska. No guarantees, no promises, no commitments, but we'll see. I know that they'll be with us certainly in bodies. We can certainly explore financial sponsorships if we exceed our budgeting for our events this year.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please.
When we met as a subcommittee for the Pride celebration, part of how we did it is we each came up with 10 local businesses and decided that's who we were just gonna go and let them know about the event. And, you know, were they interested in either financially supporting us or finding some other way to support us, partner with us? I was really pleasantly, not surprised, but I was very happy to see the support and the excitement that came from a lot of businesses who didn't know about this before. And, you know, they said, oh, keep us in mind, you know, right now we can't or whatever, you know, but so there's definitely an interest level there that maybe doesn't know about the Human Rights Commission. And I think that was a great way for us to kind of let them know we are here and to find out who we can partner with.
And when we did that, we weren't asking for a lot of, if we asked for the financial donation, we didn't ask for a lot either. So it wasn't like, they'd be like, oh, that's a ridiculous amount of money. Some of the businesses I approached, like, oh, like that's all you're asking for? So I think that helped in the at least on my side, helped in the conversations as well.
Sure, yeah. And I think that there's a trend, and I'm sure that all of you have read about this. Many businesses are looking at traditional diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and kind of taking them and saying, we're going to take that out of our budget or out of our program for our company or for our business. And so how do we continue to engage our businesses, our community in the work that we do might be a way to approach businesses this year. I don't know if that's going to be successful or not, but we can certainly see.
I would say that advertising is advertising. They have money in their advertising budget, maybe that. But also I would say not wait until the end of the year or middle of the year to request funds, because a lot of companies will divvy out whatever at the beginning of the year. So if you have ideas like whoever it may be, maybe throw out an idea to them now instead of later. So maybe there might be something left
Right.
when we need it.
That was a struggle with the Martin Luther King Jr. breakfast. People are like, well, I've already committed for the year.
Good information for us for when we're thinking about our subcommittees.
One other thing about the advertising is that many of the businesses said that they're looking for places to advertise now because there's not the Chaska Herald. And so they were looking at ways they could, advertise in other places. And we had them give us a logo to put on the t-shirts that we tie-dyed. And that seemed like a really good way for them. They were happy about that. So we can remind them it's just another avenue to get their name out there too.
Well, speaking of funding, we requested from City Council to authorize a dollar amount of $8,500 for 2026. And as we mentioned earlier with our treasurer's report, we are authorized $6,500 for this year. Part of the plan of action is to create a belonging message at monthly meetings of the commission. We'll see how that goes. Provide an annual presentation, a year in review to City Council. So I'll be working with our communications department for the city of Chaska in helping prepare a program to bring to City Council. When I came last year to City Council, they were, one, it's part of what we say we're going to do for the city. So one, it's important that we do it. And then two, I guess the feedback is that I heard from all of the City Council representatives that said, Chaska is really proud of what the Human Rights Commission has, one, created, and two, that you do. And we really want to see it continue. So our year in review will certainly bring all the highlights from 2024, probably include some from 2025's Dr. King celebration. And then we'll ask them to help us carry forth our mission to make Chaska a home for everyone. So, Jim, do you want to talk about how we worked on trying to engage city departments?
Or how we plan to?
Or how we plan to?
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we had talked about this and thought, probably these different departments are working on things for, maybe not necessarily human rights, but for community engagement and for DEI type things. And if we could let them know, hey, we're here, and we'd like to know how we can support you better. Do you have events we can partner with you, or do you have people who would like to partner with us to help when we have different events or celebrations? Maybe another thing that we had talked about talking with them about is how could we be supportive not necessarily at events, but let's say with the, like the Chaska utilities, for example. And so it's like the power company. What could we do as a commission to help make that a more equitable and inviting place for people? What barriers do they see or obstacles do they see? Another example we talked about is like public works. Let's say there's a senior community, that there's a apartment building or a neighborhood of seniors, and they find that even though we're required to have clear sidewalks, there's not people that live there that can physically do it. So is there some way we can help to find like some sort of solution for that? You know, when could they identify problems that maybe we could collaborate on? Because we've been really well supported by city council. And I would say with Parks and Rec, but there's a whole list of other departments that I think we really could tap into and just see what we can do in the future. Does that sum it up?
I think it does.
Okay.
It's great. I think one of the challenges that we'll see, and not necessarily just in Chaska, but everywhere, is a collaboration and working relationship with our law enforcement. And I think we may see some challenges in that area from a human rights perspective in 2025 and going forward. So I think how we work with certain members of our community in law enforcement and continue with community policing efforts, touch a truck in terms of the fire department, I think are all good ways that we can be kind of a bridge to another part of the city whose goal is to engage and promote from within our community. So good stuff. We want to continue working with the communities of belonging effort. You know, we started working with them. I would say that we've been taking kind of an extended break here in Chaska. I know that other areas in Carpet Pond that idea is to have kind of a relationship with that group. We also kind of established some exciting activities for 2025. And you'll see that on page 9 or 12, where we talk about what kinds of things we've talked about, what kinds of programs we've delivered in the past that have been successful. With beginning in January with the Dr. King celebration, Black History Month, Civil Rights and Humanity Engagement, Women Recognition Acknowledgement Programming in March, Asian and Pacific Islander focus in May and June. Of course, we continue with our Pride event, our River City Days presence, our cultural events. Last year, we did 2 cultural events. One was Celebrate India. Great event. People want it again. Also we partnered with Latino Voices on the Celebration of the Dead in early November, which was a fun event, late October. Indigenous Peoples Day, acknowledging their presence and their land. Veterans Acknowledgement, we did a little bit this year. And of course, we want to look at other opportunities where we can build our communities. So any ideas are always welcome. We talked about implementing an HRC presence on Instagram, recognizing that Facebook and that platform might not be for all. Any update about social media platforms that you would want to add, Kevin?
Yeah, I believe the conversation revolved mostly around Instagram, and creating a specific page for the Human Rights Commission on Instagram. So, that is something, that from a communications perspective, we can support. So it's as easy as setting it up and starting it. I believe the next step was creating a plan of how we were going to continue to provide content for it. So that's always the key. It's always very easy to set up a page or set up an account, but then you want to make sure it's active. So we would definitely be willing and happy to support and provide content as well, but we would also, look to the commission to help. And if that's, so a lot of that can be done, early on, and, with, if there's monthly messages and other opportunities like that, and with events coming up, obviously there's content that's going to naturally get generated there, but just thinking through a calendar, and saying, well, this month is something we want to post. So if you look at it as once a month, that's probably, an okay posting kind of timeline. You would probably want to try to build up to maybe a little bit more frequently than once a month, but I think to start off with, once a month is something that, if it's achievable, then that's something we can help provide.
One of the questions I was asked on Monday was, what social media platforms are you on? And I think I said, oh, all the usual. And then I thought, maybe I don't know what all the usual are for the city of Chaska. So can you share?
I can, yeah. So the city itself, we also have, obviously our police department, our fire department. But as far as the city government itself, where you'd see a lot of the Human Rights Commission posts would be, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, YouTube. We also have Threads, which is kind of the newer Twitter type platform, if you haven't been on Threads yet. And then we also have X, Twitter as well. Nextdoor and LinkedIn are the main ones we're on.
Not on the TikTok. On the
We are
TikTok.
not on the TikTok. The TikTok is on the agenda to create an account though. So, and now that we're through the potential, or the brief moment in time that TikTok was no longer available, so we can definitely approach that with full force now.
You're gonna start TikTok trends.
I don't know if I mean, it'd be great if we could start one. I don't know if I can commit that we'll start one, but we can definitely, we definitely will hop on some of them that are already going on, for sure. We do it already a little bit on our Instagram page. We've committed more time this past year and going forward to internally with our communications team discussing trends, and then figuring out how we can do those in a way that either promotes a city function or a city initiative or a city department. So we've done that with like the Gen Z script, the Gen Z edit, the one where we had the mayor fill in for us, filming some stuff at our public works, and the end video is just of his face. So kind of he had the camera facing the wrong way. So that was that's a fun one too. And the like point of view too, with the one night choir, we did that. That was kind of that event that Councilmember Wong at the time had thought of because of the TikTok trend for those two. So we've been slowly getting a little bit more trendy.
I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know any of those trends.
Probably have a lot more time at night then, because you can spend a lot of time on TikTok. And it is always interesting to see what some of the trends are. I will be the first to tell you I don't necessarily understand all of them, but they do really help with engagement. So kind of being a part of them, we typically try to then pull in some other staff members, typically ones who are younger than me, because they understand those a little bit more. But yeah, it's fun.
Well, I think that the key words that you said, in addition to everything else, was community engagement. And that's what we're looking for. That's how we want to get our message out. That's how we want to invite our community to participate with us. And although I think we've got some great programs throughout the year, I think some of us have kind of said to ourselves, oh gosh, if only there was more people, or if only there was more people who said something. So how do we expand and tell folks about all of this stuff?
So if any of the commissioners are willing to do viral dances, those are always a good one too, so.
Okay.
Well, I'll let you know.
Yeah, yeah, we don't need an answer now.
I know.
You haven't even adopted the plan yet, so.
Right, exactly.
So one of the other things that we're going to be doing is we're establishing the subcommittee work in January. Now, in February next month, we have the opportunity to hopefully, perhaps, add additional members to our commission. Those interviews are probably scheduled for, if they're not already ongoing, early next week. And so we may have a new commission member or two joining us in February. But yeah, I think it's probably a good idea that we start our committee planning now, as opposed to waiting until March. And then oh my gosh, we've got our first activity and what are we gonna do? Maybe a good idea.
Did anyone roll off this January?
I know there's one open position. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Who potentially came off I don't have that. I know there was one open position.
An open position,
Yeah.
for the majority of 2024.
Oh,
Scheduling prevented her ending, and then I think her other life happened, other commitments happened, and so Juhi is our youth representative, and I believe that she'll be staying on, continuing on in her role. I think that our plan would be to move her to one of the slots or one of the commission members. And then sadly, we'll have to bid adieu to her when she goes away to school in September, or perhaps August. Hopefully we'll be able to have another student, to join us. So that's kind of the general plan. So I think, let's talk a little bit about our subcommittee.
Chair Carlson, real quick.
Yes, please.
Sorry. You will need to, I don't know if was a motion made to adopt the 2025 action plan.
We did not. So is there any discussion or further clarification that Jen and I could provide regarding the action plan?
Yes, why, yes.
Yes, Martin, please, hop in,
I just
join
want to
us.
make a comment. So
Yes,
there is the line where you go and you're gonna go in front of the city council and
Yes.
all of what we've accomplished. I would like us to move our, whatever month that's gonna be, take our meeting and move it to that day, so we're there to support you, instead of you showing up by yourself.
I
Does that
believe
make
you attended last year's presentation.
Yes. That way everyone can be there and they can see that we do care. Does that make sense?
Absolutely,
It's a
great idea.
I just have a question about like what we're saying when we pass this. Are we committing to reach out to every single one of these departments and or are these just like ideas of, okay, this isn't like,
The last action plan was, what did we say, 2020?
No, we did one in
Or
2023.
23, okay, so that was just kind of a roadmap for how the next few years would go.
got it.
And so we just revisited that and thought we better make sure that we either are staying on track or we want to add or subtract things from the one from 2023. It is not a like instruction manual. It's more of a guideline, like, let's stay within these boundaries, or at least their goals, I guess.
There was one thing that, thank you. There's one thing that came up at I'm forgetting what it was called in New Brighton, that gathering that we went to.
Or something.
Yeah, of all the other human rights commissions. But one of I think it was the New Brighton one, said that they were soliciting feedback, I suppose, from their community about like what they were worried about. And, I think we do a lot of really great things and address a lot of human rights issues, but I'm just curious if there's things that like members of our community are really worried about that we're not talking about. I don't know exactly how to do that. I think they were door knocking, and that's a big commitment. But if there's a way we can figure out how to like ask the community what they want us to talk about.
I would suggest not door knocking. I don't think that's a good idea. Only because I did that this summer, and I think you end up meeting people that you probably don't want to meet, and they become hostile. Just from a safety standpoint.
Yeah.
But then I have a suggestion. There's the new paper or digital paper.
Yeah.
Carver County local news.
You think, like that plug there. Do you think maybe we could put something on that? Or put it out there with like
Yeah.
a survey or something?
Yeah, and you could also utilize, city facilities or, a postcard or something that you wanted to
Yeah.
send out that can ask people to take a survey as well. That's another possibility as well.
Slide it in electricity.
You could do that, yep. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, if we develop something like that, we could just use, like, we could have it at River City Days. We could, at that food pickup at the Getney
Yeah.
factory, we could like put it in the bag or have it there for people to fill out. Just like we could kind of spread it around and maybe just gather information this year and see what we hear.
Yeah, we may be missing something that is very important to a bunch of people in this community, and we just haven't thought of it yet, so.
I think it would also give us an opportunity to let the community know what we do. I think at River City Days, a lot of people were, I don't know, confused, but they didn't really know what the Human Rights Commission did or represented, or what did it mean. And by soliciting community feedback, it would give us an opportunity to sort of explain what our purpose is and, what we try to accomplish as a committee. And then we can very clearly ask people, is there anything you're aware of that would fall within the purview of, our efforts and work?
I think it could be very meaningful to community members too, if they brought an idea forward to us and then we said, well, let's take a look at that, and I think they would feel like they were even more a part of what we're trying to advance in the community and stuff. Yeah.
Good suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I shared with each of you an event that happened this past Saturday. It was a community meeting sponsored by Latino Voices, His House Foundation, and the Crown of Glory Faith Community. And they talked about, in the 2-hour session, what is immigration? What does immigration look like in terms of refugee, a person without documentation? What will it look like in Chaska in 2025? Are there safe harbors? And certainly, I would say there was probably 100 people there across a wide range of city, county, school, community members, faith communities, people from Shakopee, Minnetonka, Excelsior, talking about what does human rights look like? And that was a question that was posed to me as well. What does human rights look like in Chaska? as it relates to that particular topic. And I know that the HRC was approached and asked again if we would do other immigration related events and or partnering with our law enforcement, our peace community, our police community relations folks in 2025 to provide more understanding, more explanation, more facilitation. I don't know if that's something that we would necessarily pick up on a community survey, but it certainly was a hot topic on a very cold Saturday. To, like I said, approximately 100 people were there, and I was surprised at the turnout. An attorney from the Brooklyn Park area came and spoke and provided legal definitions of terms that perhaps we hear as it relates to human rights, but that we haven't understood clearly or understood the impact of what those words meant and that legal definition. So it was helpful. I think that what I heard was that the community would like to see more of that in Chaska. Now, whether or not the Human Rights Commission wants to take that on in a role, in a sponsoring role, in a facilitation role, I would leave to us for a discussion, but I think surveying the community through whether it's the utility bills or through Carver County local news, I think that's a great idea. I agree. People don't always understand what it is that we do. We say we do this, this, and this, but what are we really trying to do? So absolutely, we need to ask the question. Did I answer the questions about the action plan or sufficiently? Have I given you enough food to think about and to digest in the next 30 days or so? Okay.
Yeah, I think this really nicely summarizes a lot of the discussion points we've had over the last year. So thank you, guys.
Yeah.
And it can be an evolving document. It does not have to be set in stone. So if we say, oh, we want to pivot and go this way and the commission agrees to it, then we do that. But there's something to refer back to making sure that we do have a plan if we're veering off too much or something.
I would suggest raising just in case I'm not around in November or September, the 8,500, I would raise that. I was gonna say that anyway. I think I would start at 10,000. I realize that's a big number, it's a scary number, but you're also talking about 2026. I think of the next year, cost of living is gonna go up.
So we asked for 85 and they said no. Is that what happened? Or they're pondering our request?
They will ponder our request
Got it.
in 2026 to
Oh.
$8,500.
Okay.
This year, we have 6,500.
Okay.
Because the budget is end of the summer that they talk about that?
Yep.
Mhm.
Conversations start around June. And then it goes to council for preliminary tax levy in September. So they start talking about it in August to the council.
So that's why we can't ask right now for them to up it, so.
And then the final piece of the action plan, just to be clear, is that, and Jen and I talked about this with Elise, and there are commission operations, and that we really do want to have subcommittees do the work. As individuals, we can't do it. Collectively, we're a large group. We can't always be there on the same day and the same time. But through our work on subcommittees, limiting ourselves to 3 on each to ensure that we're within the confines and restrictions of the open meeting laws. it's really important that if you commit to a subcommittee that you participate, if at all possible. And I think that one of the ways that we determined was so successful, and I don't know who started it, but was using Google Drive to kind of keep up with the notes of each of the meetings. And of course, there's probably other means by which to do that are not within my scope yet. But since I was kind of late to the Google Drive, but now understand the value of Google Drive. And certainly the work that can occur in sharing information within committees. So if this is acceptable to you as a guideline for 2025, I would like to have a motion to approve it.
I move to approve the 2025 Human Rights Commission Action Plan.
Thank you. A motion's been made by Britt. Is there a second?
Second.
It's between Kevin and Martin.
He's first.
Kevin is first. Thank you, Kevin. So a motion's been made by Britt, seconded by Kevin to adopt the 2025 action plan for the Human Rights Commission. If there's no further discussion, may I have a motion to approve? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carried. Okay, let's take a look at those core events that we think we want to do for 2025, which include planning for the Human Rights Celebration in 2023, the Pride Celebration, River City Days, a Cultural Heritage Month. We've also talked about doing Women's Appreciation, acknowledging Asian and Pacific Islander, recognizing the work of the downtown community with preservation of our Indian mounds in City Square, and incorporating an Indigenous peoples event, veteran acknowledgement, and continuing Black history. I don't want to take away any of your enthusiasm, but do any of you want to just jump right on in and say, I want to do this in 2025?
I will. I'll take veterans acknowledgement.
Thank you, Martin.
Mhm.
Can I say something that we talked about too, was that as we were looking at these, we were talking about that we think it's important to have at least one experienced commissioner on each subcommittee, meaning someone who's been on that committee before, or at least attended the event, just to have an idea, of things that need to be thought about, or if someone says, we should do this, and the person experienced could say, well, this is why we haven't done this, or whatever, or this is why we should do this, or whatever. I just think it's really helpful to have somebody carry over from other years. That doesn't mean you have to do it for 7 years in a row, like I did for one subcommittee, and I loved it. So, but I've also had times where we're like, well, what are we doing? So, I think it's important to have that. And the other thing is, at previous meetings for the commission, we've all talked about, we need to start planning this sooner. We've said that about every event. So I have a note here that I wrote to myself of check in early and often with your subcommittee. Because even if you're not working on something until October, it's good to at least keep the conversation going so that we don't get to September and go, what do you want to do? And so I think that starting to choose the committees in January is a good start to it. And then we just need to continue communicating.
Anybody want to jump on to any committee?
I'll be on the Pride Committee again.
Excellent. Thanks, Kevin.
I would really like to do that again. I thought that was a great one.
That's wonderful.
I'd like to help out on women's appreciation.
Thank you, Britt. And you know, because Ren is not here, we should just assign him.
And remember, you will also have a new commissioner
Right.
as well, so
This just kind of kicks things off. I think,
just won't want to fill up every spot because then you will leave that new person with no options.
And if there's openings, we can choose to join it later.
Yeah.
In the
yeah,
year, too.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And we won't hold your feet to the fire if you say, I've thought about it. No, I don't want to do that again. But, well, I would only ask that you think about what it is that your time and your life allows you to participate in this year. And please remember that with all of these events, we don't have to do these events. We can look at other activities or other educational efforts or other community forums to bring an awareness to create diversity within our community. So please know that these additional events and recognition, we are flexible. Okay, so just to confirm, Kevin and Jennifer are on Pride. Very important. You should probably kick that off soon. And Britt, you're going to take over our Women's Appreciation sometime in spring. Martin, you're going to take over our Veteran Acknowledgement sometime in November or in the fall, shall I say? And you're going to get back with us about perhaps a community activity associated with Black history, thinking that our new partner with Shayla Michelle might be a possibility. If not, certainly just forward in that information so we can consider it.
We'll figure something out.
What do
Okay,
we,
I would say that I would like to help you with that if there needs to be some help.
Sounds good, sounds good.
And if you say, I don't need help, that's okay.
I like how I start category today.
so this isn't, it wouldn't necessarily be like event or calendar based, but what are people's thoughts about having like a youth outreach subcommittee? Which, I mean, it kind of goes along with the Black history, but it would be maybe more general and it could cover a variety of different sort of inclusion topics.
What do you mean by that? Do you mean like getting youth volunteers or program geared towards youth
I
or?
think that's a good question. I just had the idea, so it's not very well formed. But in my mind, I think I was envisioning it like maybe a partnership with the different schools and maybe going in and offering discussion topics. I don't think it would be so much like bringing youth representation into our current events, but I do think that by having sort of external youth outreach, that could be a nice side effect. I'd have to think more on what the
Sarah and I had this
subcommittee.
idea a
Oh.
while ago, but we didn't come up with anything, so
Oh, okay.
that's why I was asking you for if you had more.
Okay. Yeah.
Look, a subcommittee of 3.
No.
that would be a great idea. Jan alluded to it earlier, having the youth at the Dr. King celebration kind of builds a thread. for engagement, and certainly something that would be just terrific if we could get with the schools, and maybe work with the SOAR team, students
Organizing against, yeah,
students organizing
Against
Against
racism.
racism.
Yes. They have been our partners in the past. That certainly would be a great place for us to begin. Good idea, Brett.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
What if we had like an outreach sort of subcommittee that wove both the youth and the like, whatever postcard or whatever thing we talked about that was just kind of
Like a community outreach.
community outreach, like external, that, met throughout the year and kind of brought stuff to the group as the committees are planning the events.
I think, Hannah, you just set yourself up for a new group.
I like it. I'll join you.
All right, sounds good.
Great.
That would probably be helpful for, the Instagram page as well.
Oh, man.
What do you think
Or
about
the
that?
dancing.
What are we calling that
So
group?
youth outreach has moved to community outreach?
Community outreach.
Yeah.
I'll join the community. outreach one.
Oh,
Right.
excellent.
Ah,
Okay, we've got it. Hey, we don't even have anybody for River City Day.
Yeah, 3 on the community outreach, huh?
Yeah.
We do. All right.
I'm okay again. I'll stick with that.
Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome.
And I will join you.
All right.
Juhi, Kevin, no, excuse me,
And Yusuf.
Yusuf, worked on Celebrate India. And I don't, so
Awesome.
I think it's appropriate that we do a cultural heritage. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm willing to be on that group. So the only one that we really don't have a name to yet is River City Days, and gosh. Maybe we should talk about whether or not we want to be at River City Days. But we've certainly enjoyed ourselves. We've certainly exposed people to what the Human Rights Commission, even though they weren't sure what we did. But maybe we should spend some thought as to what the benefit is for us to be there. I think we have to be there.
I think the focus maybe should be more on educating the community about who we are and what our goals are.
Yeah.
I wasn't
You joined
prepared.
us.
Yeah, well, I was on the committee. I wasn't prepared for that question, and so I didn't have, a 10-second elevator speech to provide. But I think that if we kind of make that the focus, then it would be beneficial to be there.
Great.
I did like the trivia, the Jeopardy.
The trivia Jeopardy games were terrific, and we had some great prizes this past year. So, okay. We'll work on River City Days.
Sarah, you had mentioned this immigration program you had gone to.
Mhm.
And we're talking about the possibility of us partnering. I'm wondering if it would be good if we just attended maybe the next one, if you hear about it, and see
Sure.
kind of what it's like, and then decide if that would be a subcommittee or not.
That's a good idea. Latino Voices is planning another event here in Chaska. I'm not sure the exact date, but as soon as I have that information, I'll pass it on to Elise and she'll get that information to you.
Can I just make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
You're talking about the previous Saturday event. There's
Correct.
another one. I think we should just let that float and let the city and county decide what they want to do first before
Oh.
we put our feet in the water.
Okay.
What they want to do with.
Whatever,
That's right.
whatever way they want to go, or whatever their statement or whatever. I think it's a little too political right now for us, and I think we should wait to see what the city has to say.
I hear what you're saying, Martin.
Mhm.
I work at a church,
Mhm.
and so quite aware of political versus human rights and what messages we can send. And I think there's been a lot of really good resources put out there of ways you can support people who are either fearful or wondering about different things, where you can just be there to be you don't pick a side necessarily. You're just giving facts, and you're giving whatever the city is saying that their policy is or whatever. We're just helping spread the word about it or something. I'm not saying we have to do it, but I'm saying that there are ways that we can just focus on the human rights part of it rather than making it a political thing. And we can be very intentional about not doing that. So, I mean, that's just food for thought.
I felt like the sort of path we were thinking about was more educational in nature as opposed to political, which I guess sometimes those get confused. But yeah, it's educating about what resources are available. Like you were saying, the attorney from Brooklyn Park was simply
Brooklyn Park,
providing
yeah.
definitions of what
Yes.
certain terms mean,
Right,
so
exactly.
that people just understand.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
it's important to know what the city and the county are saying, and we can help amplify what the messaging is so that when people ask, what's going on, we're able to help them understand it better.
Okay, wise
Baby
food,
steps.
wise food for thought. Thanks, Martin. Our next meeting is February 27th. I hope that you'll all be here.
Can I put my name down for one more?
Yes,
I
please.
would love to help with Cultural Heritage Month.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We will have so much fun,
Okay, I'm
no matter
excited.
what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had so much fun at celebration and so much fun at Day of the Dead
With
celebration.
the Katrina
The
parade.
Katrina
Yeah.
parade,
Yeah.
yeah, so great partnering,
Woohoo.
great partnering.
Which that date has already been picked for
Oh,
this year.
the Day of the Dead parade.
Correct.
Okay.
And I should have gone a little bit quicker to look it up before I said that. It's Friday, October 24th. The event center fills up very quickly when it comes to Fridays, Saturdays. So we pretty much had to book that. I think by the time the event had ended last year, there was only, I think, like two Fridays left in October
Hmm.
for 2025.
Oh,
That's, yeah. So you have to move quick for that venue.
Fair enough.
okay. Anybody else before we move on?
I will put my name down for River City Days only as a resource.
What?
What?
That way, if anybody has questions, they can ask what we did in the past, but I don't want to influence anything. Does that make sense? So I kind of stick with the plan.
So would you be like number 3B on there, like our resource? Yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry, your name just got put in the box.
I put it 3 times.
Should we say that in the form of a question? Who is Martin Hubbard?
So my suggestion that I started informally in December because we didn't have a quorum was to have a belonging message throughout 2025. And the idea behind belonging messages is just is to give some food, some to plant a seed in each of us and in our fellow community members about what it is that we hope to see and want to do throughout the year. So I thought a very good little story in December. And it was holiday related, so I cannot repeat it for January. And I, put some thought into my belonging message for tonight's meeting. And so I looked at, what individuals had suggested about what to do when you don't know what to do. And I kind of see that a little bit in our society today. What will happen in 2025? And so I found this quote that I thought is my belonging moment. And the quote is this: "What we have to do now is to find a way to celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our community. Our beloved community is Chaska. So let's hope that we can do that this year with those positive thoughts in mind." Next meeting date, February 27th. Are there any community announcements? Kevin? Donna? Britt?
Nope.
Martin?
Yes. Put
Great.
me on the spot, though. Polar Plunge is this year. It's February 8th, Saturday, February 8th at Lake Waconia. I think it starts at 9 a.m., 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Even if you don't sign up to participate, you can, if you don't want to jump, you can still sign up and raise some money without jumping in, come out, support. City of Chaska, I believe, will be there. I think. Kevin, are you jumping this year?
I will be jumping again, yep.
Kevin is jumping for the City of Chaska. I'm jumping for Carver County Sheriff's Office. So come out and get wet.
And the funds raised go towards what?
Good question, Kevin.
Special Olympics, Minnesota.
See how I got us both involved in that? But
Well, that's.
It's really fun. It's actually a really fun experience. And it obviously goes to a good cause, but
I don't really believe you.
I mean, honest, I would say I was warmer in the water than I was waiting to jump in the water. So once,
That's frostbite, I think.
I will agree with that.
yeah, it's, and then after that, you're kind of like, oh, I'm good for a little bit at least.
Hard pass.
I'm glad you're doing it.
It's not that bad. My son did it.
Uh-huh.
He's what, 9? He was 9 then?
Yeah.
Or 8.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
I still have to go
I am so sorry.
because I
Jen.
have something this time. So I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited. The AARP Foundation does this every year. It's a nationwide program, but they offer tax preparation assistance. It's free. It is for seniors. You don't have to be a member of AARP. However, these people are wonderful and they will welcome anyone who has what they call a basic tax return. So if you don't own a lot of property, if you don't have a lot of investments, if you don't have complicated taxes, you can bring them in. And if it's too much for them, they'll tell you, this isn't for you. But I don't think I've ever seen anyone turned away in the 10 years that I have been working with them. They prepare taxes at Chaska Moravian Church on Mondays in February through April. And everything is by appointment. I have this flyer. I'm gonna email Kevin and Elise and they can send it out to the commissioners. You can feel free to pass it out to anyone in your networks because they also have locations at Waconia, Shorewood, and Chanhassen.
Great.
So different days of the week. There's different numbers to call for appointments on each one, but they do work together. So they can coordinate what works for you. But I just really think it's a fantastic program. The people that do the tax preparation are very well trained. Most are retired in some kind of finance field or have been doing this for years. They get trained on the new tax laws every year. So it's, legit for you're not gonna go, oh, this happened in 2020 or something. But I really recommend it to suggest it to anyone who is looking for some help with their taxes. So I think it's a great community service.
Thanks, Jen. It seems like just last year we were talking about this.
Yes.
It's a well-received program and certainly lots of people take advantage of it. So good stuff. If there's no other news or information that needs to come before the commission, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I do have one,
Yes, Kevin,
sorry,
that's good.
this is why I don't get invited back, but, Christmas in May this year in Chaska the date has been set. It's May 3rd. So the first Saturday in May. Right now, the big push, for our, board is getting, homeowners. So people to apply to the program. So
How do you
if
do
you're,
that?
it's on the website. So christmasinmaychaska.org is the website, and there's an application. I'll also send out a PDF to the commission as well. So if you do know someone, if you're unfamiliar with Christmas in May, it's a program that's been going on for 29 years now here in Chaska. So every May, we bring community volunteers together. Typically between 100 and 200 people show up, and we focus mostly on outdoor home repairs for people who are physically or financially unable to make them. And the where we find we always have a pretty, I won't say easy, but we seem to get a lot of volunteers. Where we tend to struggle some years is getting applicants. So if you know anybody, or know through your networks of other people that might need help, encourage them to apply. We typically help about 4 homes every year with projects, so that can include gardening, planter beds, painting, our deck repair, some minor carpentry items, and then our electric department also goes through and does a energy audit in the home, and then we'll help them with more energy efficient light bulbs and or appliances depending on their situation. So there you go. And in 2 minutes.
That's great. Wonderful program. If you have not participated as a volunteer, it is so fun. And it's great to see some of the faces that are long-term volunteers to come out and to help our community members. So great program. Okay, so it's officially the end of our meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn if we're good with adjourning?
Well moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks so
Aye.
much.
Gavel it first.
Uh,